Whoa. WrestleMania, Ross, are you excited?
It's WrestleMania. That's like the fourth video now I've done that on, Jack, right at the start. I'm determined to get Pete Andre on the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania because, quite frankly, he deserves it. He's a wonderful father.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our news stories today does concern a musical guest appearing at WrestleMania. We'll find out.
Peter Andre there.
We'll find out in due course whether it is or not Peter Andre himself. But before then, I'll read off some headlines. First of all, several updates have been made to the WrestleMania 37 card. There's also been a big change to this year's Hall of Fame ceremony. And finally, Triple H has commented on the chances of a CM Punk return to WWE. So, first of all, Ross, we've got various updates to the WrestleMania 37 card to go through after some changes last night on Monday Night Raw. The first one is that one of the matches has been changed. What was originally Bad Bunny versus The Miz is now Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against The Miz and Morrison after that was tweaked slightly on last night's Raw. What do you make of this?
It's an absolute crying shame that this close to WrestleMania, legendary in-ring performer Bad Bunny has been Nathan Jones'd. It's heartbreaking for him. Heartbreaking for the Bad Bunny.
It is sad, but at the same time, it was one that I think a lot of people saw coming just because Bad Bunny, well, he has minimal wrestling experience, and it seemed like Morrison and Priest were involved to perhaps carry the bulk of, the actual wrestling, the workload in the ring. So this is probably more what we'd expect from a celebrity match, I suppose. I've got no doubt that Bad Bunny will do something cool. He'll probably hit Miz with a guitar or something, I suppose.
He'll pin Morrison to win. That's what's going to happen.
Predictions
are starting already. Aye, Bad Bunny to get the pinfall for the win.
I think he might pin Miz, even. Is that bridge too far?
No, not at all.
Oh, fair enough. They did vandalise his car last night, so that's...
They did what? I've not seen a second of Raw yet. They did what to his car?
He drew. I think it was a Bugatti. He had whatever it was. It was a lovely...
Bugatti Veyron, that's what he rolls in.
I'm familiar with Bad Bunny. That's his whip. They painted "Hey Hey Ho Ho" on it in paint. Oh. I know, but it's alright. The paint looked very water based, so it'll probably straight off.
I hope they pay for that at WrestleMania because that is disgusting.
That is now a tag team match. I can't get over the. Oh, that's what he rolls in.
That's what he rolls in. Just his everyday rider, everyday driver, Pop down the co-op in his Bugatti.
Yeah. Also, two more matches have been announced for WrestleMania as well. The first one is a tag team turmoil match, and the tag teams involved are Lana and Naomi, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, the Riot Squad, and Tamina and Natalya. They'll all face off, and then the winners will go on to night 2, where they'll face Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the women's tag team titles. We were wondering whether or not the women's tag team titles would get on the show. I was wrong here. I thought that they'd pop up on the... You know how SmackDown's becoming almost like a WrestleMania pre-show kind of thing?
It makes me cringe when they were saying it last week. It's like special WrestleMania SmackDown. Oh.
Well, I mean, it does seem like they've planned badly and they need to squeeze more in than they've got room for on SmackDown. But no, the women's tag team titles are going to appear on the show itself. I don't know. I can't work out who I think is going to win that match. Maybe Lana and Naomi, I suppose. Could be Dana and Mandy.
Have you been watching the wrestling recently, Jack?
Yeah, why?
Because there's only one tag team in that match who is on form like a train. Going down the tracks. Tamina is on fire. Natalya is also there. It would be wonderful to see Tamina and Natalya finally get the big one. The big win on the second night of WrestleMania 37. They're on fire at the moment. Just toppling all kinds of tag teams.
Are they? Are they really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tamina's won like 3 matches in a row on SmackDown. It's incredible.
Fair play to Tamina. That makes sense, I suppose. Also, we've got to talk about the musical performances that I mentioned in the intro. So obviously every year at WrestleMania, somebody sings America the Beautiful. This year, it's going to be Bibi Rexha. Grammy-nominated, it says here. Grammy-nominated singer Bibi Rexha performing America the Beautiful. And she has said, I'm excited to sing America the Beautiful at this year's WrestleMania. Being part of WWE's biggest event of the year is an honor, and I look forward to performing for fans around the world, which is nice for her. But are you familiar with Bibi Rexha?
Just from my time at Man United. I couldn't hold the laugh in there.
I know a song she did with G-Eazy called Me, Myself and I. Woo, it's just me, myself and I. If you know
I was
that
praying.
one.
No, I was praying you were going to say Bebe like that, so me joke work. But just in case people didn't get the reference, I was hoping Jack was going to say Bebe. But since that's not the way you say her name, that's a shame for me.
To be fair, I could be pronouncing her name wrong. It could be pronounced the same way as my former Man United star, I suppose. Also on night 2, Ash Costello, who again is a musician I'm not familiar with, but she seems to be quite a rockin' chick. Oh god, she's going to be performing Rhea Ripley's theme song "This Is My Brutality" live. So that's going to be something.
Where's Flo Rida?
Oh no, and Pitbull. The lads, the regulars.
But we are in Flo Rida, literally for WrestleMania. We've been in Flo Rida all year now for WWE. Where is Flo Rida?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. And I am actually, in a weird way, we complain about Flo Rida and Pitbull always featuring, but it's got to the stage now where it almost doesn't feel like WrestleMania without Flo Rida.
I want my money back already.
But yeah, Ash Costello will be performing that theme song. I'm not sure if she is the vocalist on the original version of that theme song, but she might well be. Rhea Ripley is now, of course, heel, sort of. I know you've not seen Raw, but I'll explain. On Raw last night, Rhea and Asuka teamed up in a tag team match, and Rhea cost Asuka the match. She turned on her mid-match.
How will these tag team partners coexist?
Well,
yes. It's the age-old tale that'll never get answered. It was shocking because we read the reports, didn't we, just before Rhea Ripley re-debuted on Monday Night Raw, saying that she was going to be the heel. But she rocked up and she was still very much like smiling a baby face. You'd still say she's quite likable. But despite that, the next day she went on Twitter and she was like, "You peasants." What did she say? Remember that tweet I said on the podcast? It's incredible.
It was out of nowhere. It was a bit out of character. But now it's not out of character because she is now the heel of the feud. There's also been a musical update for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, because on night 1, which, oh my word, takes place tomorrow night, that's come around very quickly, will feature Nita, sorry, I always say Nina when I mention her name, Nita Strauss performing the national anthem. She's featured on NXT before. She's like, in many ways, the Flo Rida of
NXT.
WrestleMania.
She played Shinsuke down to the ring with a guitar.
She did do that. Is she the Flo Rida of NXT? That's got to be Poppy, perhaps.
Poppy's got to be the Flo Rida of NXT, yeah.
Nita can be the Pitbull, I guess. It's not just changes to WrestleMania and the card and the structure of the show itself, but there's also been a big change to the Hall of Fame ceremony this year, according to PW Insider. And I'm quite sad about it. I understand the reason behind it, but it doesn't feel right to me. PW Insider reported that there will be no inductors this year. There'll be nobody, you know what an inductor is, giving the pre-speech before somebody goes in. This is done to cut down on time. Also, as previously noted, apparently the induction speeches themselves have also been cut down. The Bella Twins noted last week that their speech was cut down to under 5 minutes, which means that both shows will be much shorter than in previous years. I'm sad about that because part of the fun for me with the Hall of Fame ceremony is when you get an especially... No, don't laugh.
Part of the fun of the Hall of Fame is sitting there for 4 hours listening to people say the same thing time and time again.
I just want to hear about stories on the road. Sometimes I get a weird little sense of satisfaction when there's an especially appropriate inductor of somebody, and then it's like Christian inducting Edge or something, like, you know what I mean, like someone who you think, yeah, and then when they give their speech, it's almost as nice as the actual induction speeches themselves, because they'll share some memories in that. There's gonna be none of that this year. They're rattling through it, which is a shame, but I do understand why, because they're effectively squeezing 2 years into one ceremony.
Yeah, this is news that me and Sam... Sorry, this is just news that me and Sam covered on Saturday, because Sean Waltman ran us through what happened. He was like, promo packages take the place of the inductors, if you will. They started the day at like 7 a.m. or was it 8 a.m. The Hall of Fame started taping, and he was very tired, so he was jet-lagged, and myself and Sam's, our hearts bled for Sean Waltman on that occasion, having to start work at 8 a.m. in the morning, sitting there.
I did not realise that Sean Waltman had already talked about that, but fair enough. Do check out that and PW Insider's report as well. Triple H has been talking on ESPN's Pardon My Take, which sounds... I've heard of Pardon My Take before, but it sounds like a Bailey talk show segment on WWE TV. He's been talking about a possible return for, we've got written here, a former WWE champion, but it's Gronk. It's Gronk's the champion that he's talking about. Actually, no, there's two parts, and the second person is actually a former WWE champion. But in the case of Gronk, first of all, he said it's a possibility. I know it's been discussed. I'm of the opinion that as the first opportunity with Gronk was happening, and we were meeting with him around the Super Bowl, you kind of don't know what Gronk is going to do until Gronk does what he's going to do. You can have a lot of conversations, but until he actually shows up, I don't know if it's going to happen. There have been conversations around that. As always, there's going to be a lot of celebrity influence. Gronk is potentially going to show up. Well, could, but Triple H doesn't. Triple H doesn't know if he's going to be there or not.
It's another one of those Logan Paul situations, isn't it? Because you obviously see the benefit of someone like Gronk rocking up to the wrestling, getting extra eyes on the product and all that stuff, but he's unbearable, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
I was expecting one thing this time, well, just before he came to WWE this time last year, and what we saw was something completely different, and me no likey.
I didn't like it either, but I did enjoy Mojo Rawley during that time. Getting Michael Cole hyped up, hitting him, that was good. That was better than Gronk's whole run, to be honest.
Yeah.
You've mentioned Logan Paul there. I saw a clip on Twitter of YouTuber Joe Weller, popular English YouTuber Joe Weller, right? And he's done wrestling videos on and off in the past. He's interviewed Paul Heyman or done stuff with The Rock and stuff like that. And him and his mate also hit wrestling moves on each other quite a lot.
I've seen one of those videos in an abandoned warehouse. They were doing like a wrestling match all the way through it.
And I saw this clip from, I think, his podcast. He's talking with two of his pals. And he's saying, Logan Paul's showing up at WrestleMania. But who started this whole YouTube wrestling thing? And I was like, Joe, just calm right down there. Get inside your box, Joe Weller. He also... Actually, no, I think to be fair, his videos might have been before ours, his first ones.
I've got no idea.
I don't know, but he also said, because his mates were then going, would you, if you had the opportunity to be a wrestler, would you do it? And he was like, 100%, absolutely love it. In fact, and then he said this, me and my mate, when we do the moves on each other, we have more entertainment value and more skill than a lot of wrestlers doing it today. And I was like, what are you talking about?
He's turned heel already before he's even started.
He didn't even know he was turning heel. He's already managed to get himself a lot of heat there. He doesn't understand the intricacies of it backstage.
There's one thing hitting a suplex off a ladder onto a mattress in an abandoned warehouse with no supervision from adults. But getting inside a WWE ring, Joe Weller, is a completely different thing. Fight me in the boxing ring at Wembley.
Fair play, Ross. Get yourself the payday there. Would you care if you lost? I'm imagining the money would be quite enough.
What would they pay me? 50 quid?
No,
70 quid?
They'd make it worth your while, I think.
Nobody knows who we are, Jack.
And as well, what I'm thinking is, right, if it was at Wembley, you'd have most of Wembley Arena packed out Joe Weller fans, but you'd have a pocket of Ross. You'd have like the Ross squad just in one pocket, and they'd be very raucous, I think.
Yeah, King Ross was good in 2016.
They'd all be decked out in King gear. Triple H has also been talking to ESPN about a CM Punk return, potentially. And he said, last time I talked to CM Punk was 1.5 years to 1 year and 3/4 ago. A funny thing that people will constantly say is, when is his return? But in some way, that has to be what he wants. People go, make the call. Who says if we make the call that he wants to answer? What if we make the call and he's like, I'm not interested in doing that anymore? Maybe he's just done with it. Those are conversations that only those people can directly answer. If he wants to do it, we would get word and have those conversations, or he would make a call. There has to be a desire there to do something like that. This business is too all in to just go, okay, I'll do it.
Is it, though? I don't know if it is for people at CM Punk's stage of the career, is it? But I reckon somebody else apart from Triple H needs to make the call. Because just listening to that there from you there, Jack, that just sounds like Triple H skirting around the issue that is CM Punk not taking a call from him.
It does a little bit sound like it's a bit of a political answer, isn't it? I feel like at this stage of his career, if CM Punk was to come back, would he not want to do something in Japan or with AEW, something a bit less WWE, if he was going to do anything?
I just hope it happens sooner rather than later, so these kind of news stories can stop.
It's never going away until he does something. Never ever going away until he does something. Also in the build to WrestleMania, WWE have partnered with Cameo.
Oh.
This is a controversy. Yeah, this is a bit of a
I was looking at some of the prices last night, and my goodness, Jack. Shane McMahon, a full £375 I saw.
Only £375?
What do you mean only?
Bargain for Shane O'Mac.
You can get all 3 members of the New Day for like £187.50 in comparison to the Shane McMahon 375, and I'm thinking that's not value for money, is it?
They're going to be better value than Shane, definitely, as well. They'd put effort into it. WWE have partnered with Cameo ahead of WrestleMania 37, as several wrestlers will do 15 cameo requests on a first-come, first-served basis. So they might be gone by the time we're reporting this.
Should we have a quick game of Guess the Price with
have you got them
Jack
up?
and Ross? I've got them here.
Seth
Rollins, guess the price.
£400.
300 quid.
He's cheaper than Shane.
He's cheaper than Shane McMahon. Sami Zayn.
175.
150. Daniel Bryan.
£400.
300 quid.
It's cheaper than
Cesaro.
Shane McMahon.
That's what I mean, Jack.
Cesaro, 225.
150.
Whoa.
Omos, who has said about 5 words on WWE TV ever.
Well, if they're 150, I've got to go 150 for Omos.
£112.50.
What? 112?
£112.50 for Omos.
This report says prices range from 150 to... He's cheaper than the lowest price. Wow.
Bobby Lashley's 150. AJ Styles is 300. Shane McMahon is there, 375. Jerry Lawler's 225. Scott Stanford's £22.50. Randy Orton's 375. Braun Strowman £187.50. Bianca Belair 150. Summer Rae's there.
Oh.
I'm just on the general wrestling section now. £51.75. Apollo is 150. But Shane McMahon is your most expensive one. The same price as a Ric Flair cameo.
That's crazy. The partnership started today, whenever this report was written, though I'm not actually... The partnership has started now, I should say, and will run through until April the 9th. Prices range from $150 to $500 or $22 to $500 perhaps. This comes after Vince McMahon obviously made that ruling where he said that wrestlers aren't allowed on Cameo anymore, no more third-party stuff. So you have to imagine that going back on Cameo, especially as independent contractors, for your employer, it's got to leave a bit of a sour taste in the mouth.
Yeah, you got to wonder how much of a cut they're getting for these £375 from Shane McMahon.
Well, and finally, there might be a return of a very popular promotion in its day, but I'm not exactly certain about that. On March 31st, Lucha Libre FMV filed for the trademark Lucha Underground in the United States. The trademark falls under television series, and basically the initial run of the promotion was a joint venture between Lucha Libre FMV and several other parties, including Robert Rodriguez, the MGM Television Group, and obviously AAA, the promotion who provided many of the wrestlers. There's been talk of reviving the promotion, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a standalone thing because it's already being used in some sort of capacity under the MLW banner. Major League Wrestling have recently been using the Azteca Underground stipulation, and essentially I got very excited when I read this story, and then I got a bit less excited when I realised, maybe it's just going to be for MLW's benefit and not the return of Lucha Underground.
Well, this is a big question. I don't even know if it's a valid question. Can Lucha Underground stand out now that we have cinematic matches everywhere in wrestling?
Oh, that's a very good question, yeah. I mean...
Because that's what made it different, wasn't it? Seeing dragons explode and stuff like that. That's one part. I haven't seen too much of Lucha Underground, to be honest, everybody. But one part I did see was Drago, how you pronounce it. His sort of death when he turned into a dragon, then sort of stabbed himself or something.
He was a real dragon, yeah.
I saw it many years ago. I might be completely wrong there.
He was a real dragon, and then during the WCPW World Cup backstage, he asked me if he could use my phone charger, and I thought, that's not the concern of a real dragon. He wouldn't care about using a phone charger, but never mind. I think it might, but probably not as much as it did in the mid-2010s. I think that those big set-piece moments were kind of few and far between, dotted around. And it was more the way it was shot. Like there was like a million camera angles, and it was all very high-end production, which I think would still stand out. But I agree that the wackier stuff would probably have less impact nowadays.
There we have it. Excited?
There we go. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. That was a weird way I said that sentence. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. That's been our WrestleMania build-up news, I suppose. I've been Jack. Ross, have you got anything in the works?
Yes, our NXT Stand and Deliver predictions are now live on the channel with cameos from lots and lots of professional wrestlers. Then we have sort of WrestleMania predictions coming, I think, tomorrow evening. I think they're going live, so. Jack. I've got WTF Moments back today for Monday Night Raw, and other videos will be available on lots of different YouTube channels.
Sounds very good indeed. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll see you very soon.